Yes, sir.
So stress strain curve. I'll ask you some questions. It's just like a revision part.
Yes, sir.
What is the O2A region called?
O2A region is the region where the material is still elastic and follows Hooke's law.
Very good. And Hooke's law following means it is elastic. Now, what is the region from A to B?
It is a region where it's still elastic but doesn't follow Hooke's law.
Very good. What is the significance of point B?
It is also known as a yield point. Beyond this point, the material cannot regain its original shape.
Very good. What is the significance of point C? Is there any special significance of point C in the diagram?
There's no special significance. It just shows. It's an example where, like, you can see that the material doesn't get its original form back.
See, there is a stress corresponding to point C. If that much amount of stress is applied, you will be getting almost equal to 1% of permanent set. Means you cannot bring back the shape again to its original structure. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, what is the region from B to D called?
B to D. It is here the
Yesterday we
again.
learned it like something called plastic region.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And what is point D called?
It's the
See from your notebook, no problem.
ultimate tensile strength, sir.
Yeah, ultimate tensile
And
strength. Now, after, sir, till point D, every time stress is going to increase continuously with the strain. But after point D, stress is going to, even the stress value reduces, strain is increasing.
the strain is increasing.
Correct. Even the stress is reduced, sir. See, I will show you a simple thing. Imagine here the value is something 100. When the value got reduced to 90, still the strain is increasing.
Yes, sir.
Now, point D to E, sir, D to E, if the gap between D to E is large, then what is that material called? Ductile
It's
material.
ductile. Yeah,
If the
ductile material.
D to E gap is less, it is called a brittle material.
Brittle material.
Now, E point is called fracture point. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So this is the whole class yesterday. And one thing yesterday we discussed is this stress strain curve is going to be different for different materials. Correct? So
Yes,
right
sir.
now our diagram is only showcasing about the metal wire. Is that clear? So fine, till now it is clear about yesterday's class. This is the stress
Yes,
strain
sir.
curve for metal wire. Now let's see this table we'll discuss back. I think this table already we have written in our notebook for different materials. What is Young's modulus and what is ultimate tensile strength? What is yield strength? Yesterday we have seen on the online page that these values are constant for a single metal.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so going ahead, sir, this is the stress strain curve for rubber. Is it obeying the Hooke's law? No, not obeying Hooke's law. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So if at all it has to obey Hooke's law, the graph between the stress and strain should be a straight line. Correct?
Yes, sir.
It's
Yeah.
not a straight line, it's a curvilinear. So this is how the stress and strain are varying. Sir, what we can call this kind of increase is, I think it is a quadratic. So it's not exactly straight line, sir. Some kind of curve. It can be cubic, it can be quadratic, it can be fourth power, fifth power, whatever might be the degree, we don't know. But it's a curvilinear, not a straight line. See, if you want to, if you can observe this metal wire from 0 to A or O to A, it is a straight line.
Yes, sir.
That means it is obeying the Hooke's law. But here it is not obeying Hooke's law. This is the graph for rubber. Similarly, it is given in your NCERT textbook, the diagram for elastic tissue of, oh, I don't know how to pronounce it, iota. I think iota. The largest tube vessel carrying the blood from the heart. The stress strain curve is something like this, sir. It is not in the straight line. So it is also not obeying Hooke's law. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay,
Hooke's
sir.
law, till now in our examples, Hooke's law is being obeyed by what kind of materials? Especially
Metal.
metals. Okay, that point you can put in mind. So today we are going to discuss about elastic potential energy.
Okay, sir.
So please put the heading elastic potential energy. If you see carefully, sir, what is this energy? From where? Actually, energy means what? Now, very simple thing, sir. If you do some work, actually, your energy is being consumed and that energy is being given to some other object. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So, what is the thing? Energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. So, energy can convert from one form to another form. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So very simple thing, sir. Imagine this is the earth surface. You're standing here and then you jumped from here to here. What will happen to your potential energy when you jumped from here to here? What will happen to your potential energy?
It gets converted to kinetic energy.
It is going to increase actually. Sir, potential energy. Here, let's imagine the potential energy is 0. At this height, the potential energy will be mgh.
Okay.
Okay, it's going to increase. Means what I wanted to say is very, very simple. Now, okay, you told a statement that it is going to convert into kinetic energy. How that is going to happen now? Sir, from here actually you try to jump. Then your potential energy, whatever you have, that is getting converted into kinetic energy, half mv square. So you can find out the velocity upon reaching the ground. How much? Root 2h. That's what we have done in our kinematics.
Yes, sir.
So now, elastic, sir, this potential energy term is there, na? This potential energy term, it will be only applicable for conservative forces. See, there are two types of forces in this nature. Those are called conservative forces, non-conservative forces. Now, conservative forces means which will obey the law. Very simple thing, they will convert one form of energy to another form of energy without any loss. Okay? No loss of energy. But in non-conservative forces, there will be loss of energy. I'll give an example, you'll understand it in a very, very better way. Sir, the example for this kind of force is gravitational force.
Okay.
So
Okay.
just now I told you gravitational force, the whole potential energy got converted to your kinetic energy, right?
Yes, sir.
Sir, the example for non-conservative is frictional force.
Okay.
So in frictional force, what's going to happen is you will do some work, but some of the energy is getting lost in the form of heat energy or sound energy that you cannot retrace it back. Sir, once the heat energy is gone, can you bring that heat energy back again into your system? No.
No.
So those are called friction. That's another example for conservative force is elastic force or spring force.
Okay.
Another example is electrostatic force. Sir, till now, actually, in my whole learning of physics, I only heard about frictional force in the non-conservative thing. And this is the main thing actually everywhere. This is the cause for, wear and tear of the machines. This is the cause for no 100% efficiency in any machine. Sir, in the world, you take any machine, there is no 100% efficiency in real world, correct?
Yes,
the main reason for not having 100% efficiency is this frictional force. Okay. So, sir, now this potential energy is the concept which will be linked with every conservative force. So, with the gravitational force, the potential energy linked is gravitational potential energy. With elastic force, the linked potential energy will be elastic potential energy. With electrostatic force, the energy linked will be electrostatic potential energy. So all these forces will be linked with potential energies. But did you hear any time frictional potential energy?
No, sir.
It's not there. Frictional potential energy will not be there. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Only the forces which are conservative, that forces only will create this potential energy, but non-conservative forces will not have. Similarly, if you see carefully, sir, why we have to discuss? We are discussing about the elastic metals, elastic materials, correct?
Yes, sir.
So each and every elastic material will be contributing for this elastic potential energy, because elastic force is a conservative force. Is that clear?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Please note down this point in your notebook: conservative, non-conservative. And you
Yes,
can
sir.
write down one point here that there is no frictional potential energy. You'll get idea about that. There is no frictional potential energy. Just note down this point.
Yes, sir. Done.
So now let's go ahead. How to calculate? It's not working. Now, in our wire case, actually, how do we calculate the potential energy? Sir, first of all, whatever work you are doing, that work is getting converted into the form of potential energy. Very simple thing. Take a spring. When you compress the spring, are you doing some work to compress the spring? Or it's by itself, it is compressing actually? What is happening?
Sir, I'm doing some work.
Correct. That means you are using your energy to do work upon the spring, correct?
Yes, sir.
That work, whatever you are doing on the spring, that spring is storing in itself as elastic potential energy. When you leave the spring, immediately you can see spring is bouncing back with some velocity, correct?
Yes, sir.
From where it is getting that velocity? Because you have done some work, that work is getting stored as potential energy. That potential energy is getting converted into the form of kinetic energy. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Similarly, every elastic material, when you apply some stress on that, when it develops some strain in it, surely there is some kind of potential energy stored in the material. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Very simple, sir. Let's take an example. Let's take a rod. So you applied the stress upon it. Let's imagine you applied force F upon the area A. So by applying force F upon the area A, you increased the length from L to delta L. Okay.
Okay.
So how much work you have done? Work done is equal to force into displacement, right?
Yes, sir.
So that's nothing but force into delta L. Okay.
Okay. Okay, sir.
But sir, this you have to integrate it if you want to know the complete work done upon the material. Okay, let's go to the equation. See, Young's modulus equal to stress by strain. Stress is F by A divided by dl by L. I'm writing dl. I think it's a very small change of length. Okay.
Okay.
So now, can you say me how much is the force? How much is the force? F will be equal to dl into A into Young's modulus
Okay.
y divided by L. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Any doubt in this?
No, sir.
Okay. Now let's go ahead 1 second. Yeah, somewhere we have done any mistake actually here. Area will be how much? Capital L. Just a small thing. See, integration, what we have to, so the work done will be equal to force into displacement. So force will be how much here? A y. I think let's take it capital L, sir. That is best because that our initial length is capital L. A y by capital L into the displacement is dl. This is what is the dl. Now small doubt we are getting, that is that small l. Okay, sir, a small mistake I think so here in our expression. It will not be dl. Just not to, I'll make it again clear, sir. Here at one instant, there is a change in length small l divided by capital L. Okay.
Yes, sir.
At one instant, sir. I'm talking at, see, imagine you tried stretching the rod. After 2 seconds, the rod increased its length by small l. Okay.
Okay.
At that moment, the force acting on the rod is how much? That's what I'm calculating. That is Ay into small l by capital L. Okay, na?
Okay.
Now, after that, actually, sir, again the length got increased dl. So work done will be the force into the change in length. And you have to integrate it from small l equal to 0 to small l equal to capital L.
Okay.
I think you could not get the point. Whichever you did not get it, you can ask again, clarify your doubts completely.
So just could you explain how you got the work done formula
Okay,
again?
how the work done has come. Let's see. Okay, I will try to explain another diagram. Sir, let's imagine you have applied a force F. Okay.
Okay.
And this is the original position of rod where the original length is capital L and it got increased some length, that is X. Okay.
Okay.
At this instant, how much is the force? How to calculate, sir? At this instant, capital Y, Young's modulus equal to force by area. The strain is change in length by actual length. Therefore, the force value will be how much?
Y into L by
Pi A X by L.
yes, sir.
So this much force is there at that instant, sir. At that instant, this is the force. Sir, that means this force is always depending upon how much the change in length is, correct?
Yes, sir.
Sir, let's imagine now the rod got increased a little bit of length. Very small amount. Very small amount, sir. How much it got increased exactly? Delta X amount it got increased. Okay, or we call it dx, sir. Dx amount the rod increased. Okay.
Okay.
Sir, dx is such a small value that in that small change, the force value did not change actually.
Okay.
Force value means, sir, sir, from point to point when the x value is changing, the force is changing, na, by x by l, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, when the length got increased to dx, what will be the new force? Ya into x plus dx by l, correct?
Okay. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Now, dx is such a small element, sir. How much means, 0.00000000000 something infinite zeros one, such a small element.
Oh, okay.
Therefore, you can neglect it, right?
Yes, sir.
Means even when the length got increased by small amount, 1 second. Even when the length got increased by small amount dx, the force value is almost approximately remaining same.
Okay.
So from x to x plus dx, what I'm considering is the force value is almost constant. Are you understanding, sir?
Okay. Okay, sir.
Why? Because, sir, see, imagine the force is 100 newtons here. When the rod length got increased to x plus dx, force might be 100.0000001 newton. So I am thinking it's almost same only.
Okay. Okay, sir.
So now the work done, sir, what is the work done to increase the rod length from x to x plus dx? Nothing but force into displacement, right?
Yes, sir.
So from x to x plus dx, what is the force value? We before only calculated YAX by L, correct?
Um. Yes, sir.
Here we calculated, right?
Yes,
What
sir.
is the displacement of the rod during this very small interval? What is the displacement?
Dx.
Very good. This is the work done in elongating the rod in a very small amount of length actually. Are you understanding, sir?
Yes, sir.
Now we will try to integrate this work done from x equal to 0 to x equal to small l. What is the meaning of small l? The rod finally elongated to small l length. So what is the total amount of work done in elongation? That's nothing but your elastic potential energy. Are you understanding?
Okay. Okay, sir. Yeah.
So now integral 0 to L, sir, y a by L is a constant numbers. They will not change. Only x dx. What is the integration? You know integration. I think so. You don't know about integration, right?
No, sir.
Okay, chalega. Leave it, sir. X dx will become x square by 2. The limit from 0 to L. So y a by capital L, you can substitute the upper limit. It will become L square by 2. Lower limit, if you put 0, it will be 0. So this is the energy stored, or we can say elastic potential energy, Ya by capital L into L square by 2. Okay.
Okay.
If you try to increase the rod length, any rod length, actually steel rod from 0 to L length, this much energy will be stored inside the steel rod itself. Under the conditions applied, Hooke's law is valid. Okay, na?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Please note down, sir. This is the expression. So you might not understand this integration and everything, but the final expression you please try to remember. Very important.
Yes, sir.
In the final expression, there is nothing a new value which you like. There is nothing something new to you. Everything you know, right?
Yes, sir.
You know y, you know a, you know initial length, and L is the final elongation in the rod 2. Yeah, that's it. Please note down. Sir, now just now we derived the energy stored, or you can say elastic potential energy will be how much? What is the formula we got? Ya by 2 into small l square by capital L. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Now this I wanted to write it as half into y into small l by capital L whole square into AL. Please see once, there is nothing changed here.
Okay. So where did the L come from? From AL?
I multiplied actually into capital L and by capital L. So this L got multiplied to use square, and capital
Oh,
L gave this term. Okay.
yeah. Yes, I got it.
So half into, sir, capital Y is nothing but Young's modulus, nothing but stress by strain. And small l by capital L is nothing but strain whole square. AL is nothing but volume of the rod.
Okay.
Clear?
Yes,
So
sir.
strain will cancel one time. So what is the formula you're getting? Energy formula. Half into stress into strain into volume. Okay.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Now, but than this, something more is important. See, you got the formula as energy, but generally they will not ask you about energy. they will ask you about energy per unit volume. This is something very important. Half into stress into strain, correct? So stress is represented with
Yes,
this symbol, strain is represented with this symbol. So this
okay.
term is called energy per unit volume. Energy per unit volume. What is the formula? So you can remember it through lifelong. Half stress into strain. Please make a note.
Yes, sir, I'm doing it.
Sir, now if you see, half stress into strain is there, right? So that's nothing but the area under the stress strain curve. If you take the stress strain curve, which nothing but we have done it while learning about Hooke's law, correct?
Yes, sir.
It is a straight line. It is a straight line till 0 to A. Remember?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
What is that A point called? Is there any name for that?
Yes.
Check it. I think B is called yield strength. Does A have any name?
No, I think B is called yield point. I don't think A
A
is.
doesn't. Okay, fine. There is no problem, sir. Up to point here, Hooke's law is applied. Now, if you see, sir, try to calculate. Imagine, sir, you started applying the stress 0 and you have taken the stress till some sigma value. So at that point, actually, you got the strain to be some epsilon. Okay, na?
Okay.
So now, see, you're getting a triangle here, right?
Yes, sir.
What is the area of the triangle? Half base into height.
Yes, sir.
So half into, what is the base value? Nothing but strain. Epsilon,
Okay.
this one, correct?
Yeah, yes.
And what is the height value? Nothing but stress.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So the area under the stress strain curve, what it is giving you, sir? Energy per unit volume. Did you understand it?
Yeah, yes, I got it.
So you can write down an important point here. So you can put the starting heading itself note, that is area under stress strain curve gives energy per unit volume. So don't get confused. It is not there in your textbook, but this is an additional point. You can make, and easily if they give a graph in your examination, you can easily calculate the area. That's nothing but the energy per unit volume. It's not energy, it's energy per unit volume. If you want the energy, you have to multiply the answer into volume.
Yeah.
Please make a note of this. Got the clear understanding about the mechanical properties of solids now?
Yes, sir.
We have one more. Actually, I have arranged, like I thought of planning to take actually today even the application of elastic behavior of materials, but time is less. Actually, I cannot take it now because if at all we would have started early, I think 10-15 minutes. So we would have got that time. You will understand it more better. Sir, what we will do now? Do you have any free time in the evening? No, today?
Sir, I have another class at 6.
Okay, then you have to study for other subjects.
Yes, sir, I probably do. Yeah.
Okay, chalega, fine, sir. No problem. So then tomorrow's class will be application of elastic behavior of materials, and might be tomorrow time permits. We'll read your whole textbook. Actually, everywhere any point is missed out, we'll check it out. If that's not possible, that we will do in the day after tomorrow's class, and then we can start. Actually, we will be starting the next chapter, that is mechanical properties of liquids. Along with that, we will solve the different problems upon this chapter also. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So tomorrow class is there.
So tomorrow is Thursday, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I'll be able to attend class.
Okay, that's fine actually.